I've heard successful people say things like close the back door or cut the tail off, and without really knowing what that meant, I'd always assume that was about focus, which partly it is. Focus in the sense of picking one or two things, investing all of your time, your energy, your resources towards those businesses and those opportunities. But as an entrepreneur, that can sometimes be a dissonant thought because a lot of us entrepreneurs have fingers in a variety of different pies, right? We don't just stop at one thing. And I think the reason for that is we became an entrepreneur because we were lookers and seekers. And lookers and seekers don't just become non-lookers and non-seekers because it can become a little bit of a habit. So I wasn't necessarily thinking that there was more to it than that. But recently I was reading Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And yes, this is my first reading of the book. You know, for someone who talks so much about entrepreneurship and personal development, that's maybe a little bit surprising to you that I'm just getting around to reading it. But I've listened to a lot of audios and read a lot of books that do reference it as well. So I don't feel like a complete stranger to the thoughts that, Hill lays out in that book. But as I was reading the book, it really brought this concept of close the back door into sharper focus for me. I realized that it's really about faith. Because when you close the back door, as it were, or cut off any other path, basically what you're saying is you believe in the business or the opportunity that you have chosen. You're not allowing yourself an escape route. You're not just going to jump off the boat mid-sail, right? So that's a really empowering thought when you think about it. It's about commitment. And when you commit to something, it's actually quite liberating. It's the opposite of sometimes what we think it is. But I guess this is where you'd have to set your own parameters and set your own rails. Like, what would constitute a failure for you? At what point do you declare it no longer worthy of your time? Would you give it 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, the rest of your life? I think this is where I would love to hear your thoughts. At what point do you declare something failure? What constitutes a failure for you? Because if you don't define that, you probably will be doing it the rest of your life, which would take significant stick-to-itiveness and commitment. Because if there's no escape route, you're just going to keep doing it, right? So I like this concept of close the back door because basically what it means is to commit to a project or a business and not jump out or escape early before it has a chance to succeed without giving it a fair shake. So for any project that you're working on right now or any business that you're involved in, set some parameters as far as what constitutes a success and what constitutes a failure. Because without those guidelines in place, how will you know when you've arrived at either destination? And let me know what sort of rails you put into place because I would really love to see what other people are up to.